Tutorial. Now in this tutorial we're going to be doing how to connect the kitty cut into the back. It's something that I didn't really talk about a huge amount in the first episode because I wanted to just focus on the shape around the front, but a lot of you have asked in the comment section if we could provide a video that was about that. I'm going to talk about 3 different ways and what they mean and what they do to the hair and who you may or may not want to use them on. Some people in the comment section mentioned they had curly hair, and I said this isn't the ideal haircut for very curly hair textures, but if you've got very curly hair textures, there are alternatives to this shape for you, but it requires just leaving the hair a little bit longer. However, I'm going to make some specific tutorials on how to deal with that separately. So please make sure you subscribe if you're not already. And we've got lots of upcoming videos to share with you. If you enjoy this, then please hit that thumbs up button. It helps the videos. Comment down below. That helps as well enormously. Support the channel as much as you can so I can keep providing these videos for you. Now, let's jump into today's technique. There's going to be a couple of things that we need to think about as well when we're talking about connecting the back to the front. So I'm going to talk you through them a little bit, and then I'm going to go through some of how you might go about cutting them on the head. So first thing we want to kind of think about when we're cutting hair specifically is how much hair does the client have. Okay, so if they've got a lot of hair density, we want to be a little bit mindful that we don't maybe want to leave too much weight behind, because it will start to impact on the actual overall hair texture. So for example, if they love that thickness, we want to be a little bit mindful of how much hair we actually remove from the exterior. But if they don't love that bulk, then we need to think about how we connect the two together easily. So I'm going to give you an example, for just a very straightforward example. What we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to look at one way of connecting it would leave the most amount of weight. Then we're going to take some more weight away, and then we're going to take the most weight away. That's why I said there's 3 ways of doing it. Someone in the comment section said that they would love to know how you'd connect it into very long hair. So that's going to be kind of the first technique as well. So it's very long and you don't want to lose the density or the length. The first one will cover that. The second one will be if we want to thin the hair down a little bit. And the third one, we want to take the most weight away. So if your hair's a bit wavy, a bit curly, and you want more texture in the hair and you want to create bigger curls and waves in the hair, then the last technique is going to be the one. So what we're going to do is we're going to split that into 3 separate videos, because each one I think is actually very, very important, and I don't want to skim over the top. So this is why it's going to be very, very important to subscribe so that and hit the bell notification if you want to see those 3 videos, because I'm going to keep them shorter. I don't want the tutorials to run into 15-20 minutes long, because I know how difficult it can be to concentrate for that amount of time and absorb the information as well. So I'd rather you be able to chunk it out into individual pieces. Right, let's get on with technique number 1. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about this technique that's going to be able to connect in the hair from the front to the back and retain as much length as humanly possible, in fact all of the length, and as much weight as possible. So we're going to split the head now slightly forward of where we took the hair from before. So we've kind of come forward just about 1 centimetre. We're just in front of the highest point of the head, and we're kind of at the top of the ear. And then what we're going to do is just repeat that on the other opposite side, just like so. So we've got it straight down the head. First thing we're going to then do is we're going to split the hair, and I'll show you while I do it. We're going to split the hair just straight down the centre back, like so. So we've got a vertical section running down the head like that. Now if you're a right-hander, you're going to want to stand on the right-hand side of your client, and if you're a left-hander, you're going to want to stand on the left-hand side of your client. I'm going to move this around so you can see it clearly. We're going to come in, we're going to pick up the hair like that. And then when we elevate it straight up, as I mentioned in the previous video, you'll have a short piece of hair that you'll be able to see. Hopefully you can see that clearly from there. Okay, and then you'll be able to elevate your finger angle. And again, remember this video is going to be about retaining as much of the length and weight as humanly possible. And we can cut underneath our fingers, and we can use the shank of the scissor. Remember, the shank of the scissor is the heel, just like we cut the front. And we're going to cut the hair from what is shorter here, and then it's going to progressively get longer in the center, and then you're going to have shorter hair at the back. And that is because obviously we're retaining a lot of the length in this section, okay, because we're cutting up towards the ceiling, we can see our section travelling up. This hair is actually the perimeter, so it's going to go all the way down. You're not going to be able to see it from there, so I'm going to have to... So you can see this hair, our longest point, is actually all the way down to the perimeter. So we've taken no hair away from the actual length at the bottom. So that is going to be the best way to do this and retain as much hair as possible. You can do that even more exaggerated if the hair's even longer than this, okay, but for this particular instance, that's as long as the hair is. Now that's going to leave the maximum amount of weight in the perimeter, and so therefore this won't be thin and wispy if the hair's fine. So this is great for fine hair textures, great for very long hair, and great for people that want to retain the weight into the overall perimeter. Okay, and so to carry that on, all we now do is just take that section, split it down the middle, push the hair to the left, to the right, or to the right and to the left, it doesn't make any difference, like so. And then what we can do is take a section that runs vertically down the head from the highest point here, or just in front of the highest point, like that down, okay. That's going to incorporate some of our previous guide from the haircut before, right here, and we've got a clear guideline now, and this is how to do it if you want to cut over your fingers. For those of you who are less confident about cutting underneath your fingers, just gently remove the hair working up to that longest point, okay. So you can just gently use the heel of the scissors just to chisel away that hair, and that will slim down bulk a little bit, but again, we're retaining the maximum amount of thickness in this area through the back, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, if the client's got very thick hair, it's fairly, it's not that often I would use this particular technique if the client had very thick hair, but obviously if they wanted it to feel very thick, then I would use it. But it is one of those particular instances where the choice is down to the suitability of the client. There's not a wrong or a right option. It's just about doing that consultation in the beginning, making sure you get exactly what they want out of it, so that you can kind of ensure that you use the right technique for the right client. We're bringing it up. We've got our guideline from our shortest point. I like to go underneath because I find I can kind of glide through the hair better this way. As I say, you can go over the top, and I'll do that again for you so you can see it. Find that guideline right there. So when you go over the top of your fingers, you've got to be a little bit mindful, and you can drop the section because you've got it held tight. I can see my guide, this hasn't moved, right? We're going to come in, and we've just got to be careful that we scoop up towards the longest lengths, and not kind of club cut straight across, because you'll take out too much of the weight. This is the result of using the concave layer. I've just blow dried it, and you can see that it's still quite full and thick through the perimeter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a square layer in the next video, linked in the description down below. That's going to take more weight away from in here. We're going to style it slightly differently so you can kind of see that effect. And then, but you know, this for all intensive purposes is ideal for anybody that's got very, very long hair or very, very fine hair, and you want to retain the weight in there, as I've mentioned previously several times. But the kitty cut shape that's in the front remains unaffected by this particular addition to the back. So remember, if you want to see the second adaptation of this, just head down to the description down below, and then that will be linked there, and you'll be able to see how we can evolve this for a different hair texture.